Hello, and welcome to the El Rancho Leaders in Education podcast. We're so excited to share captivating conversations about our students, schools, and educational programs offered here in El Rancho Unified School District. Now it's time to welcome our Superintendent, Dr. Marco Villegas.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Leaders in Education for the El Rancho Unified School District. I'm Dr. Marco Villegas, the proud superintendent of El Rancho, but also, for today anyway, your host for this very great podcast that we have. And for today, we are going to be talking to some of our fabulous students here at El Rancho High School, some of the students that have been here and they're going to talk to us really about the future. As we know, the future of the world has changed significantly in the last several years, and it continues to change. And life, when I grew up, as compared to how it is now, is completely different. School's different, the world's different. And in some ways, the world has gotten a lot smaller. As you know, in the past, it was like, well, the people lived in other countries, they just lived in other countries. Now we connect with them. Now they're competing for jobs that we used to dominate here in the United States of America. And so things are different. So, as we look forward, I want to have a conversation with you and talk about the future and what do you think we're doing well? What are some things that we could do better? And what are your hopes and dreams for the future moving forward? So let's start with this question, just kind of a big, broad question. How has El Rancho Unified School District prepared you for your future, especially that global future that I'm talking about? So, Asai, do you want to start first and give it a shot?
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Asai Mendez, a junior in El Rancho High School. And I'd say El Rancho High School has prepared me by offering so many clubs and programs within the school. An after school program I attend is the Prep Club, which offers a lot of tutoring and help for people who are struggling during school hours. So I really appreciate the help.
So tell me, how have those clubs and those interactions actually helped you? What are the things that you've learned by being in these clubs?
Well, a first part is I'd say my leadership skills has definitely improved, and my social skills, I'd say. When it comes to tutoring, my grades are doing a lot more better now, and I really have to thank the school for offering everything to do.
Awesome, very good. And Kayla, I understand you're a senior.
Yes, I am.
And you're here at El Rancho High School. So I'd like to hear from you. How has El Rancho Unified School District prepared you for this changing future?
I feel like here at El Rancho, they have prepared me for the future by having like clubs, especially like the ROP program in the College and Career Center, and just activities around school like clubs like ASB, Yearbook, Al Rodale. Like they have taught me a lot of like leadership skills to take on to the future.
So do you intend to do something in the area of leadership, or do you think that every job or everything requires some level of leadership?
I feel like every job kind of requires a piece of leadership because you have to get along with people and be able to, just respect other people, get along with other people, and be able to lead yourself to be able to respect people.
Awesome. Very good. And we have Michael Guzman, who is also joining us. And Michael, I believe you're a freshman, huh?
Yeah, I'm a freshman, ninth grade. I come from Rivera Middle School.
Oh, awesome. Well, great to have you. Thank you. And you know what? And you probably have a little more time to think about it, but how has El Rancho Unified School District prepared you for a changing world in the future that's really in our face right now?
To be frank, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's really good. I really like this school. I do have some complaints about it, though. Generally socially and how the school does interact with each other. There are a lot of students here at this school that don't particularly care about it. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that you do see it.
Yeah.
But there's real people here that do really care about education and helping each other. Prep is a very good example of that. Frankly, I got into prep very recently, only a couple months ago, and I love it. It's really good. Tutoring has been a real help. It's been helping my grades a lot. It's helped how I interact with some of the people here at the school and how I solve some of my problems.
That is awesome. And, things have changed not only in terms of the world we live in, just because of things like the internet and things like, artificial intelligence and those things that continue to change. But, you know, we just survived the worldwide pandemic that changed things even more. So more quickly, I think it made things so that we, you know, the needs of the world are very different. Consequently, the schools have to be different. And you know what I'm noticing is many of the things that you're talking about things that have to do with relationships and have to do with working with each other and building collaboration. Because as we know, one of the most important skill sets that you can learn as someone that's going into the workforce is your ability to collaborate together and develop teams. Because when you look at, for example, a company like Google, you know, that you've heard of them before? And they, you know, how have they been so successful in the things that they've done? They've done it through teams. They've done it through building a team. It's not one person inventing things. I mean, even something like the iPhone with Jobs, you know, he gets credit for developing the iPhone, but in reality, there were hundreds of people involved in the development of that iPhone in order to make that happen, because it's groups of people working together for success. And I think what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like you're involved with the types of activities that help you build teams, help you collaborate, help you build relationships with other people. And as we go through this podcast, I want you to feel open to talk. This is a conversation. This is not just about me talking one at a time. If you have an idea of, you know, bring it up. We'll talk about it. So when we're talking about, for example, there's a lot of things on your heads right now. As young people growing up, there's always been, but right now I imagine there's more than ever. And what are those concerns that are coming up to the forefront? What are the things that you think about? We say it as adults, that what keeps you up at night when you're thinking about it and saying, oh no, I worry about this. I worry about other situations. What are those things right now that you think about as you think of your future that you spend time thinking about? I'd like to hear about that. So who wants to go first?
Yeah. So I'll go first. Some things that that keep me up at night, like Dr. Villegas said, are, especially because I'm graduating this year, are things like, what am I gonna do after I graduate? Like, I don't know if other students get this, but I fear graduating and being bored at home. That's what I feel keeps me up at night, especially like getting older. Like, you're gonna have to like find a job, you're going to have to pay taxes, you're going to have to pay bills. So I feel like that's really what fears me. And I'm kind of the type of person that like overanalyzes and overthinks things. So as I overthink those things, it like just keeps getting worse and worse. But yeah, I just fear not knowing what I'm going to do after, even though I do have a plan. It's just, I fear being alone and bored at home. So I hope after I graduate, I'm not alone and bored.
And you won't be. You know, I think you seem like a very social person, and you're not going to be alone and bored. But you know what? I think what you're talking about is a real fear because it's a changing world.
Yeah, because I've also heard, like, I've talked to other people, like my friends, and they're like, no, I've like feared the same thing as you.
Yeah.
So I just feel like it goes around.
It really does, and I think and it's probably things that we've always heard. But I think we're in a different place right now in the world, where the world is changing, and the jobs that are out there are going to be different than what we traditionally had. And as we look at all the jobs that we currently see, there's probably jobs that you're going to have that don't even exist yet. They haven't been created yet, because by the time you get out of college or whatever type of training, things will have changed. And that's how fast things are moving. And so going back to the question, you know, what are some of the things that keep you up at night, right? What is some of the greatest things that you're thinking about, concerns that you might have? That's the question. And so bringing that back, Michael, do you want to take a shot at that?
Yeah, actually, I have this fear that I don't know what I want to do. When I graduate, I just don't know what I want to do. And it's been a very big struggle, because at home, I'm told, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do when you graduate? And he doesn't say, like, my father, he doesn't say this to be mean to me. He says this because he's genuinely worried, and I see it. But I can't really give him an answer, and I can tell that worries him, because we're not particularly in the best spot right now. But I am comforted by other family that tells me that you shouldn't worry about it. You're only 14. But I do try to seek something to at least latch onto when I try to graduate. Just a sort of field, you know?
Yeah, no, that's a very, very great answer to this question because, it is something that I think you're going to likely have that feeling moving forward because very few of us have that knowledge of what is it that we really want and we're going to go for it from day one. You just know it and this is what I want to do. Most of us, including myself, I had no idea that I was going to become a teacher and then a principal and then later a superintendent. That was not something that I thought about when I was certainly your age or, it happened at some point when I was in college. And there's that. And then there's also what I had mentioned earlier, that the jobs that are going to be part of your future in many cases have not yet even been invented. So things are changing, and I think what we need to be able to do as a school system is make sure we develop skills that transition into whatever type of job you might want to go forth in whatever type of career so that you have the ability, for example, communication. That's going to be necessary no matter what you do. Are you able to communicate well? Are you able to talk? And that's what this podcast is about communicating our ideas to our audience and making sure that everyone hears from us, from you specifically, about what is in your mind. And so with that, let's go with Asai. What are your thoughts?
Hi. Yeah. So I'd say one of my what keeps me up at night would definitely be knowing that I'm qualified enough to join the workforce and do whatever I aspire to do. I'd say that I know people have different backgrounds, people have more qualifications, they know what they want to do. And I'm scared that I might not have the experience enough or know exactly what I want to do yet. But I feel like El Rancho has set me up pretty well though. I feel prepared enough to be ready to take the next step and continue doing what I'm doing. So
awesome. Very good. And so, I'm going to continue with this flow just a bit and have you think about, we always say, what do you want to be when you grow up? So it's really that same question. And it's kind of what you were hitting on. And you may not know that, but is there an interest, a specific interest that you have? Are you interested in science and STEM? Are you interested in mathematics? Are you interested in teaching? What are some of your plans for the future? And so when you think about that, share with us. What are some of your hopes and dreams for the future as you're moving along? And maybe that helps us all get an idea of what are some of the things we need to do. So how about we start with you, Kayla?
I feel like now, as a senior, I really have to know what I'm going to go do. But I mean, once I graduate, I'm planning on going into community college just so that way it could take me into the right path and then transfer from the community to a 4-year university. But what I really want to do after when I'm in school and study for is I really want to be an optometrist, like an eye doctor. I just had that come to my mind and I was like, I kind of like that. And I actually did go to my cousin who's also an optometrist and I did go into her office and see what it would be like to do that. But now I feel like I'm having sort of a change of mind and I kind of wanted to go into either communications or journalism. Just because after I've done a couple videos for around school and I'm a part of a couple clubs, I just feel like maybe communications and journalism is for me. And I could just do little videos and for maybe I don't know, just for the news or something. Yeah.
You know what? And what I would say to you, you're not asking my advice, but what I would say is don't give up on either one of those paths because you never know which direction you're going to go. I think that being an optometrist and going in that path, it could be a very rewarding job and very career and path, and communication can certainly do the same thing. So keeping those paths open and maybe they can merge them together, maybe become an optometrist that does podcasts and speaks to the people in large numbers. You're not just dealing with your day-to-day patients, but you're sending a message and you're communicating it. So it could happen that you do both.
I'd watch that.
But I do feel, I'm not saying optometrist is not my top choice because it is. So my goal is to go to school and be an optometrist.
Hopefully.
Awesome. All right. Who wants to go next?
I could go next, actually. I'd say one of the biggest majors I'd wanted to do is finance, specifically because you get to get a good entry-level job wage, I guess, but also because I really like the idea of being able to manage and understand money a lot more better. And it's something I've always been interested in. Lately, I've been changing my mind a little bit, though. I've been finding a lot of pleasure doing a lot of community work and working with people around me. and talking to people specifically. I really like the idea of doing community work and working alongside people who do make a difference in their city or in their state. Just in general, I really like the idea of community work because of how much you could do to better the people around you. So
Very nice. And when you mentioned this, the finance aspect of it, and I'm going to come back and ask you the question, what could we do better? But I realize that as a school system, we don't do enough to prepare students with financial literacy, for example, to get you to understand numbers and help you learn how to invest and how in any job you have, you're going to have money that's going to be coming in. And how do you spend it? How do you invest it? How do you multiply it? Those are things that would be very helpful if we knew how to do that. If I knew how to do that, I'd be in a whole lot different place. So it's a really good point, and it's something again that could work on multiple levels. You could do community service, type of job, and you could also work in finance. So it's both. That's awesome. So how about you, Michael? What are your thoughts?
Personally, it's pretty embarrassing, but I want to get into acting.
That's not embarrassing.
Yeah, why is that
That
embarrassing?
seems fun. I always wanted to be an actor.
I don't know. I guess it's just I don't know. It just feels weird, I guess, from the household that I come from. But I do like working with people and talking with people, really raising my social skills. That's definitely something I want to do. And acting just seems like a lot of fun. I did acting in middle school, but I'm not planning on doing acting in here at El Rancho.
Why is that?
I'm not too sure about the acting here. It's just, no offense to the school here, but it's just, and no offense to Rivera either. But the class for drama, left me with a bad experience, I guess. It wasn't the teacher. It was just some of my
Like classmates.
yeah, like just the peers.
Mm-hmm.
Like not all of them were bad. It was just some.
And so, and I think acting, what a great profession that could be. I mean, you learn so many things by being in the process of acting, and you have memorize scripts, and the memory that you learn from that, the vocabulary that you learn from that, the confidence of being in front of an audience and being able to speak. I mean, it's actually a very difficult thing to do. And if you're able to speak in front of an audience and be able to memorize words and articulate it, and it's communication, and it's so many things with expression. So, I think that acting, whether you go into the acting professionally or whether you pick up those skill sets to help you in whatever the profession you want, I think that could be a wonderful thing to do. And don't give up on making our programs better. If they're not as up to par as they are, it's about us making things better for our programs. And so I think you guys know I have 5 kids of my own, and several of them have been in drama productions, and we've done a lot of different things because I think it's a very valuable skill set to have, growing up, and something you can use for a long time. Now you've thought about what you want to do, but what could be different, slightly different even, in our school that would help us be better prepared for our future? And so you want to go first? Who wants to go first?
I could step in this one. I'd say that we could host a little bit more job fairs and college fairs. This will make it easier for people within the school to be more college prone and college ready, I guess, to know exactly what they want to do. But I feel like that's my way. I'm sure there's more though.
Awesome. All right. Michael?
I pretty much just agree with what he's saying. Nothing really here to add.
Excellent. Okay.
I agree with the Sai and Michael also, but I also do agree with Dr. Villegas when he brought up earlier about how maybe there could be some classes about like financial things.
Financial literacy.
Yes, yeah. Financial literacy. So once we get older, we know money. Because I don't feel like there's classes like that. Like there's math classes, but I do not feel like there's classes that teach us about financial stability.
Yeah, you know what? And that's a great point. And it's been something that our Board of Education has been requesting for us to look into. So I do foresee us bringing it in somehow, not sure how that's going to look. It might be after school. It might be in different capacities. But I think that would be a really good thing to have. And you know what? I want to thank you guys so much for being part of this podcast. I know
of course.
I don't feel like I was prepared, but I tried my best to just
whatever's not prepared is, the outcomes are the best. So
Yes.
And I think it's one of those things that, where we're having a conversation. I am just wanting you to have genuine responses to questions that we might have, and how can we respond to this, and with the intent of how do we make our schools better? How can we listen to your voices and saying, you know what, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be better? Because, El Rancho Unified School District right now has so much to be proud of. I mean, we have so many things that have happened. Just it relates to our own high school. I mean, you've heard about the academic decathlon getting second place in the county. What an amazing feat that is.
and the cheer team as well.
The cheer team, going undefeated and winning CIF and doing so well in all their competitions, including the nationals, getting first place in those competitions. Rivera Middle School becoming a schools to watch. That's a national recognition.
And also how Rivera Middle School is giving scholarships to the seniors now.
Yeah, and the list goes on and on and on, because what's happening at El Rancho Unified School District is really amazing. The constructions that are happening in our schools, in other places that we're remodeling. So there's really a lot of things to be proud of. And part of what we want to do is let everybody know that there's a lot of great things happening here
for
in the
sure.
district. Certainly we want to improve. And that's at the end of our podcast and our time. Again, I thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to us continuing to do this. And as we look forward, continue to push hard, continue to work hard. And here at El Rancho Unified District, we're here to make every student the best they can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at El Rancho Schools.